I'm about to tell you could completely rewrite everything you thought you knew about attracting women. Ready for a punch in the gut? What if, and hear me out on this, what if every single word you've ever uttered to a woman you were interested in was actually pushing her further away? Think about it. Every compliment you've painstakingly crafted, every witty joke you've nervously delivered, every deep, meaningful conversation you've tried to initiate. What if they weren't just ineffective, but actively sabotaging your chances? Sounds crazy, right? Like some kind of twisted dating voodoo? But what if it's not magic, but cold, hard science? What if there are hidden pathways in a woman's mind, neurological triggers that are being completely ignored by 97% of guys? And what if right now, sitting here in this video, are the keys to unlocking those pathways? 5 phrases to be exact. Phrases so potent, so precisely calibrated to the female psyche, that they don't just get her attention, they bypass her logical, guarded mind and tap directly into her deepest desires, making her feel, dare I say it, addicted to you instantly. Is that even possible? Could attraction truly be this predictable? This instantaneous? Let's be brutally honest for a second, okay? You're here because something isn't working. You're tired of the same old story playing out. You put yourself out there. You try to be the nice guy. You shower her with compliments. You try to make her laugh with your carefully rehearsed jokes. Maybe you even attempt to show your sensitive side, trying to forge a deep connection through meaningful conversation. Sound familiar? And what happens? Like you never even existed, or maybe, just maybe, you get relegated to the friend zone. That soul-crushing purgatory where you're such a great guy but completely invisible as anything more. Ouch. And the absolute worst? Watching her choose someone else. Someone who, let's face it, probably isn't half as nice or deserving as you are. You see them together and you just don't get it. What does he have that you don't? You start questioning yourself. Is it your looks, your job, your personality? You begin to overthink every interaction, replaying conversations in your head, desperately searching for where you went wrong. You try changing tactics. Maybe you try playing it cool, acting aloof and mysterious. Maybe you try being more assertive, more alpha. But nothing seems to consistently crack the code. The frustration builds, the confusion mounts, and deep down, that little voice starts whispering, maybe I'm just not good enough. Have you been there? Felt that gnawing sense of inadequacy? That feeling of banging your head against a brick wall, wondering why attraction seems so effortless for some guys and so utterly impossible for you? It's a painful place to be. And it's a place, frankly, you don't deserve to stay in any longer. Because the truth is, it's not about you. It's not about your worth, your looks, or even your efforts. It's about understanding the hidden language of attraction. It's about tapping into something far more primal, far more powerful than conscious choice. It's about triggering her subconscious. And that's where these 5 phrases come in. Phrase number 1 is probably something you've heard before, maybe even dismissed as cliché or irrelevant. But trust me on this. When delivered with the right intention, with the right tonality, and in the right context, it's the key to flipping a switch in her mind. It's the secret to making her see you, not as just another guy, but as someone different, someone intriguing, someone she can't quite put her finger on, but suddenly can't stop thinking about. This one phrase has the power to shift her perception of you in literally 30 seconds. 30 seconds. That's all it takes. Imagine that. Imagine knowing exactly what to say, exactly how to say it, to cut through the noise and spark genuine, undeniable attraction. Ready to learn this game-changing phrase? I'm going to reveal it to you right after we expose the single, most deadly mistake, the one silent relationship killer that 97% of men are unknowingly committing every single time they open their mouths. Part 1. All right, you're still with me. Good, because we're about to dive into the real game changer. Remember that deadly mistake I mentioned? The one sabotaging your every attempt at connection? It's this. You're trying to build attraction logically. You're approaching it like a resume, listing your best qualities, hoping she'll tick all the boxes and choose you. But here's the brutal truth. Attraction doesn't work that way. It's not a conscious decision. It's not a rational choice. It's a deeply ingrained, almost primal response. And that response is triggered in a split second. Forget everything you've been told about building attraction over time or getting to know her first. That's relationship advice, not attraction advice. And those are two completely different things. Groundbreaking research coming out of places like Harvard University is shattering these outdated myths. They've discovered that emotional connection, that spark of undeniable attraction, isn't a slow burn. It's an instant ignition. Think of it like this. Your brain and hers are wired with incredibly sophisticated chemical triggers. Specifically, we're talking about oxytocin. You've probably heard of it, the bonding hormone, the love drug. And guess what? Your brain releases a surge of oxytocin when it hears specific phrases. Phrases that bypass the logical filters, that resonate directly with her subconscious desires and needs. And once that oxytocin is flooding her system, forget about logic, forget about playing it cool, forget about friend zones, because when that chemical connection is activated, she literally can't ignore you. It's biology, it's neuroscience, it's the science of instant attraction. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, if it's this simple, why isn't everyone doing it? Great question, and here's the answer. Because most guys are stuck in the nice guy trap. They're operating under the misguided assumption that being agreeable, being complimentary, being well predictable is the key to her heart. Think about it. You compliment her outfit, generic. She's heard it a million times. You try to be funny, telling jokes you found online, cringy. You try to have a deep conversation about her day, boring. From a scientific perspective, these approaches are fundamentally flawed. They're safe, they're predictable, and they trigger absolutely nothing. No oxytocin surge, no subconscious intrigue, just polite indifference. Because subconsciously, predictability equals unremarkable, and unremarkable equals unattractive. So how do we break free from this trap? How do we trigger that instant connection? It starts with understanding the power of specific language. Language designed not to impress her conscious mind, but to activate her deepest, most primal desires. All right, let's get to phrase number 1, and it's deceptively simple. I've never told anyone this. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, seriously, that's it? Hear me out. This isn't about the secret itself, it's about the framing. It's about what this phrase subtly communicates to her subconscious. Think about the psychology at play here. Humans are wired for validation. We all crave to feel special, unique, chosen. And by prefacing your statement with, I've never told anyone this, you're instantly implying something profound. You're saying without explicitly stating it, that she is different, that she possesses a quality and aura, something that makes you feel comfortable enough, compelled enough to share something vulnerable, something personal, something exclusive. You are, in essence, subtly elevating her status in your eyes. You're activating her validation craving on a subconscious level. But here's the crucial caveat. You have to deliver it correctly. Say it wrong and you'll sound like you're trying too hard, like you're desperately seeking her approval. That's the desperate trap we need to avoid. The exact formula isn't about the words themselves, but the delivery. It's about your tonality. Keep it casual, almost nonchalant, like it just slipped out. Maintain eye contact, but not intensely. A slight pause before you say it can also amplify the effect, creating a moment of anticipation. And most importantly, what you say after, I've never told anyone this, needs to be genuinely intriguing, but not overly revealing or emotionally heavy right away. Think of it as a subtle hook, not a full confession. For example, you could follow it up with something like, but I actually really enjoy insert a slightly unusual hobby or preference. It's unexpected, it's a little vulnerable, and it makes her feel like you're opening up to her in a way you don't with others. That's the power of phrase number 1. Part 2. Moving on to phrase number 2, and this one taps into an even deeper psychological need, the need to be understood. Stanford University studies have consistently shown that women, in particular, form the strongest bonds when they feel uniquely understood, not just heard, but truly understood on a deeper level. And that's exactly what phrase number 2 accomplishes. Wait, you actually get it. Again, deceptively simple, but incredibly powerful. This isn't a compliment. It's not you praising her intelligence or her insights. It's something far more nuanced. It's a challenge. It's you subtly questioning whether she possesses a level of understanding that most people lack. It makes her pause. It makes her think, does he see something in me that no one else does? It sparks curiosity about your perception of her. The key to this phrase is timing and context. Use it when she says something insightful, something slightly unconventional, something that reveals a glimpse of her inner world. Don't use it for generic statements. It needs to feel genuine and earned. For instance, if she expresses a slightly nuanced opinion about a movie, instead of just agreeing, you could say, wait, you actually get it. Most people completely miss that subtle point. Or if she shares a slightly offbeat perspective on a situation, you could respond with, wait, you actually get what I mean? I've been trying to explain that to people for ages. Notice how this phrase subtly positions you as someone who is also insightful and perceptive, someone who appreciates her unique perspective. It creates a sense of shared understanding, a feeling of intellectual compatibility, and that feeling is incredibly attractive. It makes her feel seen, validated, and yes, uniquely understood, which according to Stanford is a fast track to connection. So we've covered phrases 1 and 2. Relatively harmless, right? They're about subtle validation, about creating a sense of connection. But phrase number 3 is where things get complicated. It's the most controversial phrase on this list. It's ruthless. Some might even call it manipulative. And when I say it out loud in the next section, honestly, you might hate me a little bit. You might think it's completely wrong, completely unethical. But there's a reason it's on this list. Because despite its controversial nature, it works. Every single time. Brace yourself because phrase number 3 is coming up next. Finally, we arrive at phrase number 3, and this one taps into a completely different dynamic. Her protector instinct. Yes, you heard that right. Women, just like men, have innate protective instincts, and phrase number 3 is designed to subtly activate that instinct towards you. The phrase is, I'm not going to let you do that. Now, the context here is crucial. You're not going to use this phrase to control her actions or be possessive. You're going to use it when she's being self-deprecating or reckless, when she's putting herself down, or when she's about to make a decision that you perceive as not being in her best interest. For example, if she jokingly says, "Oh, I'm just so boring," you can playfully step in and say, "Hey, I'm not going to let you do that. Don't you dare call yourself boring." Or if she mentions she's thinking of doing something slightly impulsive or risky, you could say, with a touch of mock seriousness, "Whoa, hold on, I'm not going to let you do that. Let's think this through for a second." What you're doing here is subtly positioning yourself as someone who cares, someone who is protective of her well-being, both emotional and physical. You're activating her nurturing side, her desire to care for and support those she feels connected to. And in a surprising twist, by you taking on a slightly protective role towards her in these specific, limited contexts, you actually trigger her protector instinct towards you in return. It creates a dynamic of mutual care and concern, a feeling of attachment. And as the example shows, saying, "I'm not going to let you call yourself boring," is a powerful way to shut down negative self-talk and simultaneously make her feel seen, valued, and safe in your presence. And safety, ironically, is a huge component of attraction. But here's the absolute, non-negotiable, critical warning about all these phrases, especially these last 3. Tonal control is everything. Use these phrases without the right tonality, without the right body language, without the right context, and you will not just fail to attract her, you will actively repel her. You will go from charming to creepy in the blink of an eye. And the difference between charming and creepy, I'm telling you, is often just a fraction of a second. A half-second pause too long, a slightly too intense stare, a tone of voice that's just a hair too serious, and suddenly you've crossed the line. You've gone from playful and intriguing to unsettling and off-putting. Think of it like walking a tightrope. These phrases are powerful tools, but they are also incredibly delicate. You need to practice your delivery. Record yourself saying these phrases. Listen back. Do you sound playful? Do you sound confident? Do you sound like you're genuinely having fun? Or do you sound awkward, forced, or worse, like you're trying to manipulate her? The key is to deliver these phrases with a light touch, with a playful smirk, with a confident and relaxed demeanor. Master the tone, master the delivery, and these phrases can be incredibly effective. But fail to master them and you risk disaster. And trust me, you do not want to be labeled creepy. Conclusion. All right, we're in the home stretch now. You've learned the 3 phrases, you understand the psychology behind them, and you're hopefully starting to see the potential. So let's be crystal clear about something. These phrases are not magic. They are not some cheesy pickup lines that will instantly make any woman fall at your feet. They are, as I've said from the beginning, neurological hacks. They are carefully crafted linguistic tools that are designed to tap into specific psychological triggers, to activate primal responses, to bypass the logical mind, and speak directly to her subconscious desires. They work because they target fundamental human needs: the need for safety, the need for validation, and the need for mystery. Phrase number 3, "I'm not going to let you do that," taps into her protector instinct and creates a feeling of safety. Phrase number 1, "I've never told anyone this," activates her validation craving and makes her feel special. But these phrases are just tools. And like any tool, their effectiveness depends entirely on the user. You can have the most powerful hammer in the world, but if you don't know how to swing it properly, you're just going to smash your thumb. These phrases are useless, absolutely worthless, if you don't understand the underlying principles, if you don't practice your delivery, if you don't use them with genuine intent and playful confidence. They are not a substitute for being a genuine, interesting, and respectful person. They are amplifiers. They amplify your existing personality, your existing charm, your existing potential. They give you the edge, the subtle advantage, the ability to cut through the noise and spark that initial spark of attraction. But the rest is still up to you. You have to be willing to put in the work, to practice, to refine your delivery, to understand the nuances, and most importantly, to use these phrases ethically and responsibly. So, are you ready to take your attraction game to the next level? Are you ready to start using these phrases to spark genuine connections and create that instant spark? If the answer is yes, then there are 2 things you need to do right now. First, smash that like button. Seriously, obliterate it. Let me know that you're finding this valuable, that you want to learn more, that you're ready for the next level. Because if this video gets enough likes, I am going to release part 2. 3 phrases that make her obsess over you, psychology approved. Yes, we're going even deeper down the rabbit hole. We're going to explore even more potent, even more psychologically charged phrases that can take attraction to a whole new level. But I need to know you want it, so like this video now,